Alrighty. Okay, call the meeting to order. It is 7:03. Welcome, everybody. Just want to note for the record that Cammie is excused from tonight's meeting, but we still have a quorum, so all is good. Also wanted to note, and I don't know the agenda or not, but I wanted to mention it for sake of services committee that we won't be doing a motion on the policy that we were discussing, the code of conduct policy. This meeting will put that up till December because there's more to discuss in committee. So everyone saw the agenda. Any questions on the agenda? Okay. Move on to public comment. There's no public here, so no public comment. Next thing we will go to is approval of minutes. Amanda, I don't know if you want me to do that.
Yeah, I'll let you do that.
Yeah, since Kim's not here.
And there's two of them.
Yes. So in your packet, you will see from our special meeting that was called regarding the construction project on October 7th. We saw that in the packet. Did anybody have any questions on that? Motion to approve the minutes of October 7th, 2024, the special. Okay. Liz makes a motion. Can I have a second? And a second. Okay, is any further discussion? None. Anybody in favor? All of us. So there's no one opposed, no abstention, so that would be 5 in favor, none opposed. The motion passes. Next up, excuse me, there's the minutes from last month's meeting from October 15th. Everyone had an opportunity to read those. Any further comments, edits? Motion to approve the minutes from October 15th, 2024. Charlie makes the motion. Can I have a second? Katie makes a second. Great. All those in favor? Favor, so motion passes 5 in favor, none opposed. And with that, we will move on to the treasurer's report.
So everything is in order. You'll see that 85.5% of the year is complete, and we are at 83.9% of the budget in terms of expenditures, so we're right where we need to be. Some great news is that our revenue is at 369.47% of the total budget because of interest accrued. So by moving some of the money around into more higher yielding interest accounts, we're able to earn some money off of the money that we have. So that's great news that came about this year, and hopefully we'll continue with that moving forward. In terms of expenses in the warrant, a big one is the payment to Nicelers, which is slightly over the budgeted amount. But our benefits, we're gonna still be okay because of that interest accrued, and the total, like the bottom line is okay for that category. And then the other big expense that you see is paid to our construction consultant from the Capital Reserve Fund, and that reflects the portion of the site work contract that has been completed to date. The other expenses were all pretty standard unless there was a question about any of those. And then and in terms of the off warrant, Everything was standard things that we often see. So we have a couple of motions unless anyone has a question or a comment.
I did have a couple, just a couple little questions.
Sure.
So off warrant and warrant both have Nicelers. Is there a reason for that?
Because every month, is it okay if I?
Yeah.
Every month, we make a payment to Nicelers, which is the employee's contribution that's withheld from their paychecks. So we make that payment for them, and then we have the yearly fee that we paid on the regular warrant, which is our yearly employer contribution.
Okay. So then my follow-up with that, so there's a like $16,000 or so difference, is that from the 171?
Yep.
From what we budgeted? So,
Correct.
is anything changed with Nicelers, or that's just?
It's just the
Or the-
difference
yeah.
from their projected invoice to the actual invoice. Our total health insurance is far less than we budgeted, so it all comes out in the end, and we'll still be under budget in our benefits line, our salaries line for the year.
Yeah.
But
So-
Nicelers was over what we budgeted.
Okay. And in terms of, there was something about a shutdown of IT services that we had to pay TAG for.
Network management shutdown.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
Network management shutdown.
Yeah, it's 3,900 will be paid to TAG Solutions for November service, including network management and shutdown.
Let me take a look.
Okay.
That was just, is that different than the standard payment? Like, cause we're paying them monthly.
Is that the same amount we pay each month, 3,000?
I'm gonna have to look back, I don't know. I can let you know.
I just wondered what the shutdown meant, that shutdown part. Because it seemed odd to me, but maybe that's how they move things from servers or something.
Ticket charge, so we had an issue with a UPS network management card controller with PowerSheet network. Yeah,
So it wasn't like we had a
was-
cyber
that
attack or
was-
something.
no,
Yeah.
that was $1,338 for that issue.
So that would be additional to like the monthly.
Okay.
And then the monthly amount was the $2,633.
And that's the typical network management part, but we don't always have shutdown,
Right.
which is good.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We don't want that one. Okay.
The Nicelers, going back to that, I know it's a projected amount, so are we anticipating that's gonna be even higher on next year's? Like, are we gonna be okay for next year's budget line for that?
For
Nicelers.
Oh, for Nicelers?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
we won't
back to-
know, we won't know. I mean, we budgeted based on their estimated. We put in a little extra this time than their estimated. This year, we budgeted the exact amount as their estimated. For next year, we put in a little extra. It's based on a couple different things, so it's really hard to predict. It's based on previous years, and it does not coincide with our fiscal year salaries, as well as whatever rate they set. So it's really hard to predict.
Just take your best estimate kind of thing.
And this is where if we were ever at a point where we did not have any room in our benefits line, then we would need to use our operational contingency money. That would be what, for workers' comp or unemployment or this. But because we have room this year, we don't need to do that, but that would be a perfect example of what operational contingency reserve is for.
And I'm noticing it's for the Seasons East, it says 9:30
24 through 9/30/24. I'm assuming that's supposed to be through 10/30/24, so that's just a typo. Under the warrant, not a big deal, but just before the minutes go official. Let me double check
Adjust it, yeah.
because this was. No, this is just the month of September.
So then maybe it should be 9/1/24 through 9/30/24.
Yeah, what does it say?
9/30 through 9/30.
Oh, yeah, 9,
Just that one day.
Yep.
Really busy.
9.
They did a lot.
Oh, in your report.
Yes.
Well, the
yes.
first day is 9/3, so
Okay,
maybe you got a little.
okay. All right, that's
It's
the
okay.
problem. So just to bear in mind for.
So that's, so what is, I'm sorry. I
That's
missed
for
it.
the month of September.
Okay, so it's 9/3 through 9/30.
Through 9/3, not very busy day.
Yeah. A lot of planting that day.
Things got beautiful. So then I just have some motions, motion to accept the off warrant in the amount of $276,478.63 for the period of October 9th through November 8th.
Charlie? Second. Okay, any questions or follow-up discussion? All in favor? So there's none opposed, motion passes.
Then we have a motion to authorize the president to sign the warrant for the period of October 9th, 2024 through November 8th, 2024 in the amount of $224,185.46.
Amanda, we have a second? Charlie? Okay. Further discussion or questions? Hearing none, everybody in favor? All 5 of us, none opposed, so that motion passes.
And then a motion to approve the November 8th, 2024 financials with 85.5% of the year completed as presented.
Second, Nicole, okay. Further question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? All 5 of us, that's unanimous. The motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on, we have Katie.
So some of this might be obsolete at this point because the construction obviously is ongoing. So as of November 4th, the paint tile and mosaic tile were either done or happening soon. The lighting was ordered to replace the temporary lighting. Jill was working on the windows order. And the plan for the windows and the EFS will be completed in spring. Everything has been covered thus far because we're coming in under budget. So one thing that Cammie brought up was, are we going to have car chargers and the electric sign that she is very excited about as potential future construction grant ideas. So Jill agreed to look into that. Rensco is gonna give us 1,000. We didn't receive it, but they did give us a letter of commitment. The budget process was a big thing that we started talking about 2 months ago and that we were able to come with a motion. So before we talk about the motion, I'll just explain the thinking. So because we planned the budget with so many variables, the thinking was if we push the process out a little further, then we can use some hard numbers that are firmer or definite at that point. So there will still be some pieces that are up in the air when we start the process, but it'll be more of a sure thing. And by the time it's said and done, we're gonna have the information that we don't have when we present the budget now. So the thinking for the new timeline would be that Jill would begin planning in June and the budget committee would be established. Now, normally we would do that in March, so we're essentially pushing everything 3 months forward. or further into the future, I guess. The budget committee would meet in August. At the September board meeting, the committee would make a preliminary presentation to the board. And then we did keep it, we didn't want to put exact dates because it's gonna change year to year, but this time frame should be able to be honored beyond 2025. So a week prior to the October board meeting, the public hearing will be held, and then at the October board meeting, the board votes to approve the budget. So the thinking there was that that would give us some time to make adjustments if the public recommended and we saw fit. And then the board could approve in October. And then the day before the November board meeting would be the budget vote and the trustee election. So we did want to package those together as they have been in the past. So the motion that the committee is recommending is, now, Mary, where did you put your strike through?
It's changed, it's on the agenda is the motion.
I gotcha, okay.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so originally this was the motion that we came out of committee with, but then just to tighten it up a little bit, the wording was changed. So I'll go back to actual wording, I'll read you the motion, and then if anyone has any questions or comments, we could take them at this time. So motion to change the initiation of the library budget cycle from April to June, thereby changing the date for the annual election and proposed budget submission to voters from September to November. The change would take effect in 2025 and then it would remain in effect moving forward. Does anyone have questions about that? That was a big one, so if anyone has questions, it's completely understandable.
Did you guys give any thought to structuring it where you could vote contemporaneous with election day?
Yes, we did. And the problem was that we couldn't have people here all day, right?
Well,
That
the
was
other
part of
piece
it.
is that people vote, like my polling place is not the library.
Right.
Yeah, and so the
That's
second
the
part
other
of that is, what about working with the county board to get them to not have, to have the ballots outside of the election district that votes in the library? I think it's EG5 votes in the library, but if you had the library budget and the trustees on the back of the ballot, you could have them at all 10 polling sites.
So the cost would be far more than our $1,200 budget. It's something we can consider. But in order to do that, because we've looked into this in the past, in order to be on, and we may decide it's worth it, but in order to be on the regular ballot, you have to print a certain number of the, it's a certain percentage of who voted in the previous election, I think. And by having us coincide with whatever is happening in the general election, the number just skyrockets up. So,
Do you have mixed voting, some places too, like, I'm thinking like a Nassau or like a Nassau East Green Bush or a Skodak East Green, but like, is there?
But the county board, by managing that, they're gonna have the list, and they'll print the ballots. So if a person lives, you go and you get your ticket and they print it, you get, depending on where you live, your ballot's specifically tailored to you
right,
in your district, so it's gonna, that'll wash out when you vote in
Okay.
on the machines that the county's ministering. Like, we'd just be tailing the county election, the county run elections.
Like, Andrew said there's a cost, do you remember what the figure was? I know it's more than $1,200, obviously.
I mean, it was, I can't give it to you right now, but it was astronomical in comparison. Now, whether we could work with them and come up with some sort of deal that wasn't gonna cost us. You know, they pay poll workers everywhere, they do there's a
So
whole,
when you talked to them, it was to have it just here,
yes,
Okay.
it was to have, what would it cost to use the
to use the machines, like,
machines?
yeah.
Right,
See, because I'm surprised that they would, I could be wrong, but I'd be surprised if they would charge us if it's printed on the ballots. Because and there's other library district, or other libraries in the state that, like even 2 weeks ago, had a library, a 414 vote in, I think it was in Dutchess County, they had a 414 vote on the back of the ballot, or the bottom of the
Is
ballot.
that a special district? Cause that's a little.
Well,
Yeah,
414
it's like the
vote,
budget
it's a budget, it's a one-time budget vote.
Yeah,
But we're a special district. It's all who is responsible for holding the election. Would they allow us? Yes.
that would be worth exploring.
It would push the timeline back, but
It'd also give us better turnout.
yeah, you're gonna
More-
get the
more
time.
eyes on.
Yeah, because Bethlehem, they're doing a vote soon, if not this week, I think it's maybe next
On their
week.
construction.
Yeah, and the TU wrote an article of like, how do you expect any voters to show out for this? Everyone's got election fatigue from the general,
Yeah.
like, no one's gonna come to vote for this, or you're gonna have an immense drop off. And also I don't remember if it's in there, but again, administration plus having another election right after it is just, if it's 2 weeks. Same day whenever it's there, like, what do they want to do?
And would this work every year?
Well, it's interesting, because if there's technically a proposal to move the local elections to even numbered years,
Yeah,
if that's caught up,
yeah.
but even if we did it, I could see it where, again, working with the board, with the county board, if it was an issue where they would charge us for the odd numbered years, because if they're not holding municipal elections then we already have an existing process to vote here. Be worth exploring to see, like, what do you do if you have an annual election? That they're administering, I mean, they're gonna, until that takes effect and gets wrapped up in court, they're still administering basically elections every year between the municipals and then the midterms in general. So they're gonna do one every 4 years, I think, every year in a 4-year cycle anyway. But if that does go to where they're only doing even number of years, then we still have a process with the voters to do it in the library.
Yeah. To explore, my concern would be if we're, going back and forth like this year, we're gonna do it here, next year, we're gonna do it there, following year. I just think that could maybe work against us, but on the other hand, it certainly would get more people, but there's more people that turn out for a general election certainly as compared to.
Even last year was a large turnout for the town races, because it worked on the polls for that one. And it was still is more than we get for the library election, basically. And that was at Melvin Roads, which is part of East Greenbush as well, so those voters would have the option to vote on the library budget.
So is that something that you're?
I think we can look into it for sure. I don't see why we shouldn't look into it.
Yeah.
I think it'll take, there is a site on your state library that has all of the laws that are related to this stuff, so we can look at that and get that information first, and then contact the county. I don't think that necessarily changes where we might want to recommend tonight, because you can always amend it later.
Yeah, and the motion isn't
You know.
specific to dates, so because you have a third structured in the language where it would still be in November, like for next year, election is November 4th, so the language in here, even for next year, 2025, further out, but you'd still be covered by this language anyway, even if you moved the specific date for the election, if you moved it coterminous on the 4th instead of 17th.
Yeah, I mean, we can always adjust the calendar.
Yeah. Yeah, because we had a different timeline in mind, but that's not reflected in the motion. The motion left it open, and that was our intention, so that as things change down the road, we aren't tied to specific state, right, so.
Because there's a lot of things that have to back into.
Yes. Okay.
Is that it, Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm going back, sorry, I was looking at the motion again to make sure we were covered. I think that was most of what we were looking at. Oh, sorry, there was, do we wanna do the motion or do the rest of this report and then do the motion?
Well, however you,
You wanna do the motion since we just talked about it and then I'll just finish this
Sure.
briefly?
so we heard the motion, Charlie was, okay.
Yeah, where we are going.
All right, Charlie will bring the motion, have a second? Amanda second, okay, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? That's everyone, so 5 in favor, none opposed, the motion passes.
The last thing that we did discuss was personnel. So right now we're down some clerks. So Jill's recommendation is that we hire a part-time and full-time clerk as soon as possible because we're currently down 2 part-time employees. So the committee did support that decision and we wanted to be able to say that we could support them financially moving through 2025 because we would hate to hire someone and then say, okay, great, we can afford it right now, but now we can't moving forward. So we felt comfortable committing to the financial support that would take them through the 2025 year. And it would require us restructuring the proposed budget, but we're planning on doing that anyway. So depending on the.
No, it's included already.
It's in 2025, it was just if we could hire somebody in 2024, it's covered in the 2024.
Yes.
Yes.
But then we're gonna restructure still once
And
we
we
get the
still have
SCODAC
another
contribution.
Right.
Okay.
But this position won't be impacted necessarily.
Yes, and then what do we have upcoming? We have the New York State Paid Family Leave Act, which has been tabled to deal with getting this motion to change the budget cycle, health insurance, and then restructuring the budget, and we did want to make it clear that everyone is invited to attend. If you were on the budget committee, but you're not on admin, or even if you weren't and you're just curious or interested or have feedback, then everyone is invited. And then next year we'll get to the reserves policy, but SCODAC will be the money, the contribution from SCODAC, and then the restructuring of the budget is gonna be the focus in December. That's the priority. Oh.
Have any further questions, Katie? Thanks, Katie.
No problem.
Okay, next up, Amanda.
So we worked more on the code of conduct review. We're nearly finished with that. We rewrote it, and we took the changes from the staff, which were minor, but things that they really felt were necessary. And we discussed having some of the expectations posted around the library translated into those 4 languages that we know are the top from our survey, from our, I forgot what it's called.
Strategic plan.
Yep, thank you. So we thought that would be helpful. We did have some more discussion afterwards, so the motion that you see in the report is actually not going to be, we're pulling it back. We're not doing that this time. We'll do it next time, hopefully. So a little bit more work to be done on that. We also got the newest draft of the staff manual. We're all gonna take our works, we're gonna dig in. We're gonna help Jill get this thing whipped into shape, hopefully, not by December, but get the start feedback and hopefully get that going for the new year for those guys, because it's been a long time coming and we're all very, very tired. We're not very tired. It's very important. So that's basically our meeting this month. Next month, again, like I said, we're gonna do more with the staff manual and the code of conduct.
And then I don't remember if we did discuss or not, the board succession planning.
We did touch on that here a bit. I must not have written it down though.
Yeah.
We talked about ways to find more folks. shaking our networks and like ways that we can do that, like even at programs or like if you're at a program and you know there's a bunch of adults that you know live in East Greenbush, throw it out there. I may have done that. Jill did that at the welcome, or no, you did that
At the volunteer
volunteer
appreciation.
brunch. It's like, what if you did that? Or I was sitting there, the tag team did, you know, talk it up as you go around, you know. But besides that, like who and where, like where to look for people is the biggest thing. Cause you know, we've all shaken our networks just for the strategic plan alone. And those guys are like, stop calling, no, they're not actually saying that, but.
For, just to add on to that, so the Friends are in a similar, or they have a similar need to kind of notify, but tell people what they are about. And they're looking to, like an awareness campaign, they want to do one, so might be something that we can kind of tag team or work together with them. And that might be a good idea anyway, because the Friends, you know, we have that three, the library, the Friends, and the board, we all have different roles, and so that maybe could work well for us too. So timing is good for this. Okay. Anybody have questions for Amanda? Thanks, Amanda. Right, guess we're move right into the director's report.
Okay, so in the month of October, we have finished up a lot. Well, October was very busy for construction. The main entry was closed for quite a bit of time. And traffic was rerouted through this meeting room here. And we've had, you know, various different things that we've had to do. We've kept the community updated on in our e-newsletter and on the website, and our staff updated, and we didn't have a massive issues. I think it was handled well. I think everyone worked well as a team, and thank you, Jenna and Dawn, for a lot of the day-to-day handling of the construction stuff, and thanks Charlie for meeting every single week with the construction team. We're still doing that. There's still a lot of work to be done, but we are basically at the punch list stage for the tile work, the painting. We're still waiting on the lighting, permanent lighting, to be installed. We need to put in new carpets out there, the walk-off mats, where you have to choose the carpet still. And then that will conclude the physical work for the fall, winter. In the spring, we'll be working on the windows and the EFS, the building skin, and also the fabric canopy for the staff entrance. That'll all be in the spring. There's still a lot of details to be worked out with the windows and the EFS, just coordinating their, you know, we've had to make some changes to some things, so there's a lot to be worked out there. So far, we're still on budget and everything looks really good. We are keeping a close eye on our contingency budget as we get closer and closer. You know, that wiggle room we have less wiggle room, so we're keeping a close eye on it, and hopefully we can remain under budget, barring, you know, unknowns, which we think we've built in enough contingency for the unknowns, but we shall see. But so that has it definitely impacted operations this month. I think a lot of people stayed away. It was, even though we were open during most of it, we were closed for staff development day, and then we opened late the following day. We had a lot fewer people visiting the library in person, so you'll see that reflected in the visits to the library. They were down 17.2%. Drive-through visits were the same, and website visits were slightly increased. Cardholders, pretty much we're staying the same, relatively flat with cardholders, active cardholders, relatively flat. Registered borrowers are increasing slightly. Meeting programming, the number of classes that we are offering and the attendance that is continuing to grow. That is definitely due to the additional staff we put in place this year for sure, prioritizing our programming. Meeting rooms, we hosted 69 non-library sponsored meetings or events this month. We have been working on trying to evaluate how many hours have been open and not used in the meeting rooms. It's a little bit complex to get it all done. But there's not, so far, I'm not seeing a whole lot of trends. It really depends, and we have to do more than 1 month, because the first we looked at 1 month. And 1 month, you have the Red Cross who would be here all day, you have, certain groups will skew the statistics dramatically based on how long they're using the room. So it's really tricky to kind of figure that out. But we're still working on that so that we can really get a better handle on how the meeting rooms are being used and a direction that we might recommend in the future, because there's lots of things that we've talked about potentially doing in the meeting rooms, and it really all depends on capacity for everything.
When you're doing that, are you also able to tell if people have been looking for rooms but they're not available?
Not really, because right now, if people are reserving a room online, it only shows them times that are available.
Mm-hmm.
So unless they are calling us,
Yeah.
not really. And so a lot of times people are there's usually space available, it just may not be their first pick. We try not to be the place where they meet every single month, where it gets this becomes this group's dedicated time and space, because it's really a community space and not necessarily for one group to use. Sometimes we want to switch things around. What if we want, changing the election date is a perfect example of that. So there's things that we may need to do. So we try to, it's first come, first serve. We open it for a few months at a time. It's first come, first serve. Collection use is decreasing slightly. Okay, collection use is decreased slightly this month. I think that's probably also tied to being just the construction. It's interesting though, because programming did not decrease. Now, we did hold some children's story times off-site, so that is definitely a big number for us, the kids attending at the children's story times. But it's interesting that even the adult numbers increased as well, so that's not necessarily tied to construction. And computer usage is up, although you don't have lines for computer usage. So it's interesting, we have less computers, but there's still no wait for people with computers. I think it's just more people using it for shorter time periods. There's definitely people coming in using it for resumes and stuff like that. Wireless sessions continue to increase. I'm just going to draw your attention to a few new partnerships that we've been working on. We've been working with the we went to the Skodak Landing Fall Festival this year. That was new, and that was great. We connected with more than 500 people there at that event, so I think that was something that we should do again. We've started working a lot on our local business outreach, both with programming, making contacts with different local businesses and organizations. We partnered with the Small Business Development Center, and they came in and did a workshop on marketing for small businesses. And we did have, it was a small number, but it was a positive. We felt that it was a good turnout for the very first time offering something for small businesses. And the people who were there actually talked about their business and there was valuable conversations happening back and forth. So that was really good. We've also been working with just sort of priming the connections for other things. So the Chamber of Commerce is becoming a closer partner with us. We did add someone from the Chamber to our Community Advisory Council. And so they're going to help us with some of the small business marketing and PR. And so that's really good. We did an introduction to Medicare program, and this is something we've done in the past, but it usually would get like 3 people or sometimes no people. But the person that we've connected with for this program, we offered it 3 different times on the same day and had 67 people come. So that was great. So that is to me a true definition of a partnership, because we didn't do all the marketing ourselves. They did marketing too with their networks. And we made it, kind of a meaningful thing for people instead of, oh, here's this great program and nobody really knows about it. How do we do that? So that I think deserves a shout out. We're working with the Capital Region Birth Baby Center and Doula Network of the Capital Region to do some programming. In the future, we have talked about, we have some potential connections that we'd like to use. It's sort of capacity right now, but we'd like to work with Junior Achievement, and we'd like to, there's some different things that we're definitely planning and doing. It's just we can't do it all at the same time. Working with RPI, their engineering ambassadors are coming in to do some children's program. So we're really, and Inclusible, I'm really excited about this program. We've got, Inclusible is a play-based program. It's that someone started, a former special ed teacher started this program to use play for all abilities, to use games and as a way to enhance communication skills, build social skills, and just have a good time. And so we've had a lot, we have lots and lots of adults with special needs who are coming to the library, and we are just really looking for ways that we can support them in more meaningful ways. And we think that this project will be really good. So the founder of Inclusible is coming in. We went through a training at Upper Hudson for this. We sent staff to a training. Now the founder is going to come and do staff training here for our library staff, and we'll host the first program, kind of teaching us how to do it. The way that this will be successful is if it's run by volunteers, because it is hands-on. It's easy, but it's hands-on. And that's a heavy load. If you're going to do it once a month, sure, staff can do it. But if we're going to do this regularly, which the need is there, then we need some volunteers to help with this program. It is a daytime program, so it's not something that, working people necessarily can do unless their business is heavy on the community outreach and, maybe they're local and can spare an hour and a half once a month to do something, which is possible.
Yeah, because I know Regeneron used to have community commitment things that their employees needed to be involved in. So they may have, people that they would allow to do something during the day.
So this is something that I would ask you. I asked Community Advisory Council, and I'm asking you if you can just kind of spread the word. that there is this opportunity. I think it should be really meaningful. You can go to the Inclusible website if you want to learn more about it. I think I included a link. If I didn't, it's just search Inclusible and you will learn more about this. I think really meaningful program. I didn't say meaningful too many times. It's meaningful.
Jill,
But we're excited about it.
what expectations are, like, do volunteers have to get like fingerprinted? Do they have to do any sort of, or do they just come to the library desk and say, I wanna volunteer, give a call, I wanna volunteer?
That's it.
That's it, okay.
So a lot of these adults are coming with their caregivers too. So it's really being the host for the games. They're structured games, you know, like you're gonna play memory. And the cards are gonna be large and, you know, there will be a training for it. So they're gonna train our staff and then our staff can train volunteers. We also have the county coming in, Department of Social Services, to do a training on resources in the community for our staff. They're coming to do that. And all staff are encouraged to take advantage of both of these trainings. You'll find more in my report, but those are the big kind of unique things that we're doing right now. Also, thank you. There was a staff development team. Jenna chaired this team, staff development committee. They put together a phenomenal staff development day. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive. And that we had training from someone who was recommended by a community advisory council member and just as a contact. And so we met with that person. They came in and did training on trauma-informed services and practices, and then we how it impacts library work. And it's really just the beginning of a conversation and using kind of the same language, everybody on staff, but it was a pretty robust training. We had a lot of great feedback from that too.
Good.
Gotcha.
I did want to mention too, the Volunteer Appreciation Day that,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yeah.
That went off well.
Mhm.
And the winner, the Volunteer of the Year is Lynn Catalotti, if you know Lynn. I've known her for quite a few years and I can't tell you how many community things she's been involved in. And she ran the Goodbye Bookstore. She definitely is, her picture is right there by community.
She has served as president of the Friends
Yeah.
before. She's been president of the Kiwanis, president of the Greenbush Garden Club. But even at the library, she runs a book club here. She spearheaded the Halloween party that we do after every parade. That's in partnership with the Kiwanis. The egg hunt, other things like that we do. She was just also on the garden club. She coordinated the garden club coming in and maintaining some of our front garden areas. So she's great.
Yeah, and it was a good turnout, and from what Julianne was saying, or somebody in the Friends was saying, that it was positive feedback in terms of having it as a brunch instead of a nighttime event. So that was good to know too.
And just a heads up, this is minor, but last night we had a weird smell. Oh, you're gonna get.
I was here.
Yeah.
So-
Oh.
I didn't
You
smell
may-
it, I was here, but
I
didn't
was
smell
not
it.
here, but there was a weird smell, and it smelled, I'm told, like an old, for those of you who have been around for a while, like remember the smell of an old burning projector, like when the light bulb burns out and that smell. Well, that's basically what it was. It was a ballast and one of the light fixtures blew. And if you don't have that turned off, power off, then it just continues to send out power. And it was it's burning the little wires in there. So they called the fire department, cleared the building, and then once we figured out what it was, turned the lights off, closed that meeting room. It was fixed this morning. Paul fixed it. And people came back inside the building probably 20 minutes later.
I was here for we were here for a meeting, and I thought the staff handled it great. I mean, they cleared the building out, there was no panic. They just said, we need to evacuate for smell. Fire department, it's like, all right.
Story of a life.
Yeah, right, another
Smell.
smell. We didn't smell it, but that was okay. And, I mean, people kind of hung around, it wasn't, so it was good. Yeah, they did a very good job. Yeah, no panic, which I think that's always key. Yeah.
You can't anticipate the things that are going to come up, you just can't.
Right? Right. Who would have thought? Monday night.
We're gonna evacuate Christmas.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
Yeah, unbelievable. All right, so anybody have questions for Jill on the report? I think some of these new programs like this birth and baby center thing, I love.
That's part of the sale grant.
Yeah, oh, nice, okay. Oh, good. Very cool.
My friends was an author at the author day.
Oh, yeah, I was
Oh,
wondering how
yes.
that went.
Was so thrilled. She was absolutely thrilled. She's never done anything like this before. She just mostly sold on Amazon. And she was delighted to see like how many people came. She sold books. She made contact with the guy who runs the train station shop. And he put her books in the shop. So now she can sell books physically without having to go on Amazon.
That's a great story.
So
Yeah.
she was over the moon.
Great.
Yeah, so that was a
We'll
good
report,
turnout.
we'll report that in
Yeah.
next month's
Yeah.
report, but yeah, it was a great turnout.
Yeah. Very good.
We had over 40 authors, around 40 authors, more than that applied. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it was,
A lot of
It was-
visitors, yeah.
it was, we were worried, okay, we've got all the authors, now we need attendees, but
Yeah.
The school district, I think, said something out about it,
Did
which I
they?
thought was nice,
Oh,
just to
wow,
say,
good.
because I think there was maybe
The
not
numbers
teachers,
weren't
and
tennis
a,
author.
and a, right, and a student too, so I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
that was meant
He
to
was
say.
sitting next to my friend's table and she of course bought his books and vice versa. Well, his mom bought her books.
he was the one in the Times Union today, right?
Oh, I don't know, I didn't see Tim's
Yesterday, today or yesterday.
That's great. Yeah. Well, it was the first annual, so.
All right,
The
first
second
annual,
annual.
second annual.
Yeah.
It was a hit.
Yeah, good. All right, I guess we'll move on to the personnel memorandum. And this IT salary schedule.
That's me too. Personnel memorandum. Pull it up here. There is a motion to accept the resignation of a part-time librarian who's been with us for on and off for a number of years. Sarah Caldwell, she is, has moved to Siena College. Great. Also we have Charlie Stevenson. This is one of the people that interviewed for the part-time library clerk position, so we have that before you tonight, the provisional appointment there.
Starting
We
tomorrow?
do, she was not actually gonna start tomorrow, that we're still negotiating a start date, but has said yes. And we're ready to make an offer on the part-time, from one of the people that, we went out to the part-time people that were finalists and asked if anybody was interested in full-time. And so we did find someone, so as soon as we have approval from the board, we'll make that offer. And the part-time librarian has been posted, so we'll just wait on. hopefully by next month, we'll have part-time librarian.
Yeah,
But that's 8 hours a week, so it's not a huge, I mean, it's a nighttime position and part of a weekend rotation, so it is an important position, but it's a small number of hours.
right, so, can I have a motion to approve the November 19th, 2024 personnel memorandum as presented? Charlie makes the motion, can I have a second? Katie, any further discussion or questions for Jill? Hearing none, all those in favor? Yes, motion passes, thank you.
Oh, just an FYI that we did put it out to our current staff.
That is the staff salary wage.
Okay, you have, I think it's been passed out to everybody, right? Did you get an amended document? None of the numbers changed, but it should be highlighted. There were some mistakes on the asterisks, where the asterisks were placed. So, the changes are highlighted here. The principal library clerk, I think, had 2 asterisks, or business operations manager had 1. It was just the wrong number of asterisks there.
Just, can you remind us of why this gets put before the board annually? Is it because of the, what is it, why is it? Yes.
You guys put forth I mean, it's in the budget, this is what's in the budget, it's just part of the annual, the board approved
So
salaries,
financial,
the
it's a-
salary list.
Okay, so this comes out of what the approved budget then?
Yeah.
Okay, so like the COLA or whatever else is.
This was part of the budget discussions with what the increase was going to be. And so the increase was 3% on last year's base, and then the step schedule is the same step schedule that we have had in the past. We talked about potentially adding a step, and we did not add a step. We talked about different COLAs, we talked about, this is all during budget, we talked about, we did a comp study again, and there were some positions that are out of whack. We did not choose all of them for this year's budget. We chose the principal library clerk position and the IT support specialist position to bring them up to speed. We definitely have some more positions that we need to keep working on in the next budget for sure. This is what was approved for the budget.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for?
So what's the highlighting for?
So down at the bottom, there are asterisks. I had corresponded the asterisks with the wrong job titles.
I didn't even look at the, I mean, did look at the other one, but I didn't really.
Yeah.
Notice the instructions.
Yeah.
Of course I did.
And so did Dawn.
The
So
most unimportant thing I was able to find. Yes, yes. Yeah, oh, Dawn found it too, oh, good. Feels bad then. Yeah. So everybody has
I
the
did not.
version. All right, well, if there's no other questions, can I have a motion to approve the 2025 staff salary wage schedule as revised and presented? Katie? Charlie? Questions? Everybody in favor? Everyone, 5 in favor, none opposed, the motion passes. Okay, so moving on to liaison reports. We don't have one from the Friends. Was there anything meeting that we had earlier?
talked about the book sale raised just shy of $7,500. met. The Greenbush Quest had, there's something in here about the Quest, but I'll highlight that they had 71 teams and 227 people participate, so still a successful project. There was discussion about,
Well, the book sale, they wanted to extend some hours next year, right?
yeah, they approved extending some hours. They talked about the raffles, whether to continue the raffles or not. The consensus was yes. Discussion about marketing and PR as for the book sale. And they approved
Their officers.
new officers. They have half of their officers up for election each year. So Shay Harrison, who used to be on the board, is the vice president. For a 2-year term, Diana Vance will be the secretary again for a 2-year term. Jennifer Romer is new, she'll be the fundraising co-chair, 2-year term. Betty Bellino, Juno, who was on the board, she is gonna be the advocacy and awareness co-chair for 2 years. And then the membership co-chairs will be Mary Ann Baird, 2-year position, and Eve Young, that's a 1-year position, she's a high school senior, so. 1-year position.
Yep.
And they're also doing, they're putting together, they distributed standard operating procedures for the treasurer, and that'll be discussed next meeting.
Yeah, their planning meeting is in January, I believe. Yeah. And like I said before, they're also doing an awareness campaign, and they are interested in partnering, so I will reach out to Diana.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're on. I'm assuming we didn't get anything from Jim McHugh in terms of, miss you, Jim. Rensselaer County, we don't have our liaison here this evening, but I did see Tom Grant was at the volunteer appreciation. So I did thank him for $1,000 that came from the county. So. And I don't know if you have anything Upper Hudson, Kimmy did not say that.
The only news would be Tim Burke, the executive director, is retiring.
Yeah. April. Yeah.
Forgot what it
Yeah.
was. He's giving a few months
Yeah.
notice to be able to have an effective search.
Yeah.
No news to her.
Yeah.
Jenna was more shocked than the rest of us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've been there forever, yeah. Okay, so moving on to unfinished business. Charlie, is there anything?
I think
Facilities?
admin and Jill covered, I don't remember anything else to add.
Okay. Good in facilities. I just wanted to mention that, ask, make sure that we have as trustees, we all have that annual requirement with state ed. So, whatever you've taken by the end of December, make sure you let Jenna know, so that we are in compliance with the state ed.
Do you have to have like a proof or just tell you what it is? Cause I didn't get certificates.
If you can just, the date and
What it is.
yeah,
Yeah, I can,
and like who presented it, it's the state or whatever.
Committee on Open Government.
Yeah,
Case in business.
yeah, so yeah, that's the date that you went, and just if you could let Jenna know that she can put it in the file that she's maintaining. Okay, next, any other unfinished business we should know? Next up is new business. And did everybody get a revised calendar as well, or just highlighted? Okay. So there's a calendar in our packet. Here. So the packet that we received did also have many of these dates in here, but there are, Jill has highlighted the things that have changed from the packet. So there's an amended, basically an amended version of next year's calendar, which is, I mean, it's pretty much a suggested calendar
Yes.
with the understanding that we commit to the public that we have, you know, our board meetings are every third Tuesday, our committee meetings are every Monday, or first Monday, that kind of thing. So, there are a couple, as you'll notice, that are not the committee meetings, or the board meetings, I'm sorry, are out of sync in September and December and February. I guess April is not, but I think the February one is probably because of school.
April fell not during school break.
Okay.
February fell during school.
And then based upon what the admin committee has been working on with Jill, in the past, it's usually been the July board meeting that we haven't held. It probably will be August this year. It's on there in case we need it. So it's just good, like everybody has these dates. If there's any that you absolutely know that you can't make, it would be good to share that. So, you know, it's always possible to change a meeting. Certainly, we need to have a quorum available to hold a meeting.
On that note, I will not be able to make it next.
Okay.
I have a concert, one of my kids has a concert, so I will not be here in December.
High school orchestra.
Okay.
So, and if there's any on for next year, I mean, that you know about, like, I know our new trustee is gonna be away for a few weeks in February. But I think this works for her because she'll be back in time, yeah. Another thing that Jill and I thought would be good to add is our annual training. That didn't happen this year, unfortunately. As you can probably remember, January, there was lots of things happening and illnesses and whatnot, so Charlie and I will be talking about what will happen at the annual training next year. This was a Monday night, yes? Okay. We don't have committee meetings in January because there's no committee identified yet. So just an FYI or a reminder for them. And then was this one? Trustee petition deadline changed because that has to be like 30 days before the election.
It's 30 days plus if it falls on the weekend. You have 2 minutes.
Any questions or comments, concerns about the calendar for next year? Great, so then can I have a motion to approve the 2025 calendar as presented? Charlie, anybody second? Seconded. Any further discussion, questions?
Can I just make one comment that next month we'll need to present before you a list of days for staff? As last year, because we made an adjustment for the staff manual, and the staff manual is not. So that will be the same as last year, and basically it's all of these, it's the holidays on here except for Easter will not be a paid holiday. And working not regularly scheduled to work on the weekends. But Labor Day and Memorial Day weekend. And there's 2 floaters. So that'll be next month's. That'll be before you next month's. Okay, and there's only 1 staff development day.
But that'll be presented next month for approval.
That'll be next month for approval. also the table of fines and fees will be before you next month too. There's some discussion about changing that.
So is that admin or is the fines and fees?
I think it is admin.
So for admin, maybe next month we have to talk about the fines and fees.
Okay, even with knowing that we're gonna be talking about Skodak.
I'd
We have a quick conversation.
Fines and fees.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Mary, as I'm putting these dates into my calendar, I will not be available for the July meeting.
Okay. Just the board meeting or?
I didn't get to anything else yet.
Okay.
July is over.
Yeah, well, so that's what's good though, because as people, July is far away, so maybe if we have to make adjustments so that we can get used to it.
We'll be back to 7, so, well, I mean, theoretically, yes.
Yes, in theory.
Not to
we'll
be
have 7.
presumptuous,
Yes,
but-
in theory we'll have 7. Okay, and then I had, the one thing I just wanted to mention, I did get 4 trustee responses on the board report card. And I'll summarize it, and I think it's really more, it'll be useful for us when we do training. Because it identifies areas that, for all of us that wanted training in certain things, so I think that's helpful. And, where we could do better, where we're doing okay, that kind of stuff, so thank you to those who submitted it. And I guess, we're gonna go into executive session to discuss, director's performance evaluation. I just wanna make sure we state for the record that there won't be any further business discussed after that, so. Exec session. Into that. So. Was out the public part. Yes, yes. So, we have a motion from someone to enter executive session to discuss. This motion, can I have a second? And, discussion, questions, all those in favor? Motion. Okay, the motion passes, so we will now go into executive session.
8:16 p.m.
At, yes, 8:16.